My name is Ronald Weich, and I'm the Dean of Seton Hall Law School. I'm thrilled to be hosting today's commencement celebration. Welcome, class of 2026, and their family members and friends who are with us today. To start the festivities, please, those who are not standing, please do stand and join Raquel Rocco, a member of the graduating class, as she sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Raquel. That was fabulous. You all may be seated, please. There are so many people at the law school who do the invaluable work that makes our community so strong. Chief among them is Father Nicholas Gingaro, who this year celebrates his 45th anniversary since his ordination. Please join me in thanking Father Nick as he comes to the podium to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Ron. I was only 10 when I was ordained. Among the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, just one was Catholic. At the time of the signing, Charles Carroll of Carrollton was reputed to be the richest man in the 13 colonies. He was a delegate from Maryland to the Continental Congress. At his death in 1832, at the age of 95, he was the last surviving signer of America's cornerstone document. In 1826, invited by the mayor of New York City to participate in the 50th anniversary celebration of the Declaration, Charles Carroll reflected on its meaning with the benefit of historical perspective. He wrote, "I do hereby recommend to the present and future generations the principles of the Declaration of Independence as the best earthly inheritance their ancestors could bequeath to them, and pray that the civil and religious liberties they have secured to my country may be perpetuated to remotest posterity and extended to the whole family of man." Much more recently, in an audience at the Vatican with participants in a conference on combating crime, Pope Leo stated, The Holy See is firmly convinced that the authentic implementation of the rule of law remains indispensable for integral human development. No truly just society can endure unless the law, and not the arbitrary will of individuals, remains sovereign. While no person or group, regardless of power or status, may ever claim the right to violate the dignity and rights of others or of their communities. The consonance between the idea of the United States of America and Catholic teaching about the rights and dignity of the human person is evident, even in these two brief quotes. The Catholic identity and mission of Seton Hall Law School in promoting the rule of law and securing our democracy is top of mind this morning in our school's 75th anniversary year and the 250th year of our nation's founding. We celebrate our graduates and send them into the world to be servant leaders of a free society. Let us pray. Lord, bless these graduates. Sustain their hopes. Through dedication and discipline, they have gained knowledge and skills, preparing them for service to our nation. May they prove themselves faithful guardians of the rule of law. Grant them their high destiny as your daughters and sons, effectively and ethically advocating for justice. Bless the families and friends who have been a constant support during their graduates' years of study. May they know how much their dependable presence has meant. Continue to bless the life and work of our commencement speaker and honorary degree recipient, Camille Vasquez, and look graciously upon the 50th anniversary alumni in attendance and their classmates celebrating from a distance. Lord, enable Seton Hall Law School and Seton Hall University to employ the riches of our Catholic heritage to educate and enlighten all who seek learning and wisdom. We ask your unfailing guidance for President Monsignor Joseph Riley, Provost Eric Lilquist, Dean Ronald Reich, for the university regents and trustees, and Law School Board of Visitors and Alumni Council. Inspire our outstanding faculty, sustain our administration and staff. Invoking all the holy names of God, we pray together and say now, Amen.
Thank you, Father Nick. I want to take a moment to introduce some of our guests seated in the front row here on the dais. Our chaplain, who you just met, Father Nick, and I'll proceed down the row here. Associate Dean for Academics, Devin Corneal, class of 2003. Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, Jenny Brooke Condon, also class of 2003. And may I say that Devin and Jenny Brooke were moot court partners. Associate Dean for Experiential Education, Lori Borgen. And then now proceeding to my left, our keynote speaker, Ms. Camille Vasquez. There will be a fuller introduction of Ms. Vasquez later in the program. Seton Hall University President, Monsignor Joseph Riley. Interim Provost, Executive Vice President, and Professor of Law, Eric Lilquist. University General Counsel, Kimberly Capadona, class of 2001. Executive Vice President for Board Affairs and University Strategy, Amy Newcomb. Assistant Provost for Faculty Affairs, Associate Professor of Law, Jamie Werble, class of 1998. Assistant Provost for Academic Services, Autumn Bouchor, class of 1999. Board of Visitors Chair, Elaine Rocha, class of 1998. The Board of Visitors is the law school's principal alumni advisory board. Suzanne Midledge, Board of Visitors Vice Chair, Class of 1991. Board of Visitors Secretary, Paul DaCosta, Class of 2003. Mark Colello, a member of the Board of Visitors and the Alumni Council President, Class of 1989. Not in the front row, seated in the second row by request, but to confer our honorary degrees, a privilege that gives him great joy, is Board of Regents Emeritus member and Board of Visitors member Joseph LaSala, Class of 1972. Joe is behind me to the right. And then at the end of the row, our Grand Marshals, chosen this year in recognition of their decades of service to Seton Hall Law School, Professors Andrea McDowell and Tracy Kay, who are retiring this year as Professors Emeriti. Please give all of our guests some applause there. In keeping with a very special Seton Hall law tradition, I'd like to recognize the Seton Hall lawyers who are here on stage today to present diplomas to their graduating family members. And finally, I would like you to join me in welcoming members of the class of 1976. On this occasion, they mark their 50th year since their own graduation from Seton Hall Law School. With the class of 1976, please give us a wave. Now, class of 2026, I will be the first of many speakers to offer congratulations today. You have worked hard to reach this milestone. You deserve to feel pride in your accomplishments. Well done. Speaking of pride, many of you are accompanied by proud parents, spouses, siblings, and friends. I know they played a key role in your law school success. Graduates, please join me in thanking your supporters for the sustenance and love they gave you over the past 3 or 4 years. As Father Nick noted, we are celebrating 2 significant birthdays this year. First, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of Seton Hall Law School. The school admitted its first class, your predecessors, in 1951. That class was almost all male, but they enrolled in a school whose dean was Miriam T. Rooney. That was new. Dean Rooney was the first female dean of an ABA-accredited law school in the United States. At a time when society often relegated women to the domestic sphere, a pioneering woman led Seton Hall Law for its first formative decade. And I am proud to follow in Dean Rooney's footsteps in carrying forward the mission that she established, preparing the next generation of lawyers to serve their clients and their communities with integrity and purpose. At the heart of that mission are the professors seated behind me. They are triple threats, dedicated classroom teachers, nationally renowned scholars in their respective fields, and world-class mentors to the students. I ask the faculty to stand and accept the appreciation of the graduating class. Thank you, colleagues. Let's not forget the hardworking administrators and staff members who toil often behind the scenes to keep Seton Hall Law strong and to support your law school experience. And a special shout out today to Dean Andrea Cascarano, who led a team of people to make this commencement ceremony so special. Thank you, Andrea. Now, as Father Nick said, the other birthday that we celebrate this year is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Some call it the birthday of the United States, but that's not quite right. The colonial rebellion to overthrow British rule was already underway before July 4th, 1776. And the Revolutionary War, key battles of which were fought right here in New Jersey, did not end until 1781. But the signing of the Declaration was a turning point in American history, and I submit that it is especially significant to all of you soon-to-be lawyers. After all, the Declaration reads like a legal pleading. The list of grievances against King George are essentially counts of an indictment or causes of action in a civil complaint. And the relief that the colonial Congress sought was a new independent nation in which all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But of course, there was a glaring irony in the Declaration because many of the signers, including the principal author, Thomas Jefferson, were themselves enslavers. It took a civil war to end that immoral practice, and it took constitutional amendments in the 19th century and a civil rights movement in the 20th century to move us closer to that ideal, and I submit that the work continues today. So what do these two birthdays, 75th anniversary of Seton Hall, 250th anniversary of the Declaration, what do they have to do with each other? For 3/4 of a century, this school has provided thousands of men and women like you with a first-class legal education. As lawyer leaders in your community, whether in private practice or public service, you will have an opportunity to participate effectively in the great debates of our day, including current struggles over the meaning of equality and how to achieve it. In your constitutional law class with some of these professors, you explored the infrastructure of our democracy, including the Declaration. We taught you to use your legal education to defend those democratic institutions, but at the same time to work to improve them, and specifically to help make real the promise of equal rights set forth in the Declaration. Martin Luther King Jr. said that when the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Declaration, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. So help make that inheritance meaningful. And with founding Dean Miriam T. Rooney in mind, don't hesitate to update Thomas Jefferson's Declaration to say that all men and women are created equal and all people are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Class of 2026, it has been my privilege to serve as your dean for the past 2 years. In those years, I've come to know many of you, and in the years ahead, I hope that you will remain involved in the school as alumni so that I can get to know you all better. Please stay close to your classmates in the years ahead. Nurture the Seton Hall Law community in the wider world. Continue to make us proud. Congratulations. And at this time, it is my privilege to welcome to the podium Seton Hall University President, Monsignor Riley, to extend a special welcome to our graduates.
Thanks so much, Dean Weich. Greetings to all of you and congratulations to the Seton Hall Law Class of 2026. God bless you all. I want to begin by telling you how very proud we all are of you. I'm sure it's the same pride that your family and friends, many of whom are here, are feeling as well. Now, after years of study, your law school journey has reached a successful conclusion. The fruits born of sacrifice and long hours and years of study. As you enjoy these well-earned fruits, you've reached, I believe, an inflection point. Today, you're faced with another question. Not a question of law, but a question of purpose. What kind of fruit will you bear for others? This is a significant and telling question as each of you begin your legal careers. It's also an ancient question, intimately connected with what gives life meaning. In St. Matthew's Gospel, Christ tells us and his disciples that good trees bear good fruit, and likewise, bad trees bear bad fruit. People, I believe, like trees, are known for the fruits that they bear. Jesus says himself, "By their fruits you will know them." This is so important that he says it a second time. By their fruits you will know them. And also in St. John's Gospel, Jesus instructs his disciples at the time, go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. As graduates of Seton Hall Law, you have been trained to be the bearers of good fruit, fruit that nourishes the human family, the fruit of justice, of fairness and truth. This is the fruit that truly endures. I believe this is the highest aim of your calling as practitioners of jurisprudence. And I would dare say it's the very reason that our law school here at Seton Hall exists. By now you understand that Seton Hall lawyers are bound by a mission to serve, to love and uphold the law with wisdom and virtue, and to use their position of privilege, which is what you will have, to advance not yourselves, but the common good. And it's because of this, in the coming years, you'll be known not for your worldly achievements or even the material possessions that you gain, but by the fruit you've borne as servants of others and of the law. When you turn the blessings that have been given to you into blessings for other people, then you will have achieved the greater purpose that God has invited you to receive. And as you all leave Seton Hall Law, you go with our prayers and our utmost confidence that our nation, our world will be a better place because you are about to take the reins. Be well, stay safe, and come back to Seton Hall whenever you can. May God bless you throughout your lives and in everything that you do. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Monsignor Riley. Seton Hall lawyers have developed a reputation for outstanding ethical leadership, and Elaine Rocha has epitomized leadership throughout her career and is the leader of our Board of Visitors. As chair of the Board of Visitors, Ms. Rocha would like to share a few words with you. Elaine, please join us.
All right. I brought my glasses just in case. Good morning, Dean White, faculty, fellow board members, alumni, distinguished guests, friends, incredibly proud families, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2026. What a privilege it is to stand here today. As a proud alum and the outgoing chair of the Board of Visitors, I have to confess something straight away. Almost 28 years to the day, I walked across this very stage. And my first piece of advice is, do not blink. Because when you do, time flies so incredibly quickly. It feels like just yesterday I was sitting where you are, filled with excitement, a little nervousness, and some anticipation. When I sat where you are today, I thought I was looking at a map. I believed my degree was a GPS with a predetermined destination, a law firm, a practice area, a life. Now, to be fair, in 1998, we didn't actually have GPS. We had oversized paper maps that I found completely impossible to fold back up. And we also had a lot of blind faith. But if there is one thing my career has taught me, it's that life isn't a map. It's a terrain. Maps, even the best GPS, they'll send you down the wrong road, you'll lose the signal. Today, I want to suggest that what you're holding is not a map, but a master key. My own path hasn't been a straight line. It looks less like a career ladder and more like a game of scavenger hunt. I began in the practice of law at a traditional law firm, but that same education eventually opened doors into the complex machinery of corporate America. It granted me access to high-stakes world of global insurance, investments, and operations. It empowered me to have the confidence to develop an insurtech startup with 2 co-founders, and it provided entry into the mission-driven world of nonprofits, where I serve as CEO today. On paper, these roles look like they belong to 4 different people. To an outsider, it may look like a series of pivots. But in reality, there is one constant thread. My Seton Hall law degree was the master key that worked in every one of those locks. It gave me the standing to enter the room and the analytical power to understand the machinery behind each of those doors. This law school didn't just teach you how to do legal research, to write or to cite cases. It taught you the universal language of logic, ethics, and strategy. Whether you were in the library or coffee shop, fueled by espresso, my personal favorite, or matcha, you honed a burning desire to understand the law. You are also learning a powerful new way to analyze and solve problems. In many ways, you began speaking a different language than your family and friends, and you all know this is true. As I like to say, you learned how to think or speak differently than regular people or non-lawyers. In the corporate world, I use my legal training to see risks and opportunities that others missed. In the executive suite, I used the law to build structures where there was chaos. With the insurance startup, I embraced technology to reimagine an industry just as technology is reshaping yours right now. And today in the nonprofit world, I use all of those same tools to advocate for those who don't always have a seat at the table. You are not just graduating to be lawyers. In the traditional sense, you are graduating as professional problem solvers. You are the person in the room who can take a mess of facts and find a path forward. You've been trained in the tradition of servant leadership, meaning the greatest successes will come from the value you provide to others. Whether you are in a courtroom, a boardroom, or in a community center, you are the ethical anchor. You have faced down academic and personal challenges with a grit and determination that is truly inspiring. Many of you balanced family obligations, personal challenges, and unexpected opportunities, often at the same time, while attending classes, reading endless pages of case law, and sharpening those analytical skills that brought you here today. And many of your families carry that journey alongside you, supporting you, sacrificing for you, and believing in you, even during the hardest moments. Our motto, hazards that forward, reminds us to push through peril and uncertainty with courage. So my advice is simple. Do not be afraid to use your master key to open the door that you don't see today. If you find a role that calls to you but doesn't involve a billable hour, take it. If you want to build a business instead of a book of business, do it. Your Seton Hall Law education is not a fence designed to keep you in the legal profession. It is the foundation that enables you to build a skyscraper where you see none. Class of 2026, don't worry about finding the perfect path today. Just find the next interesting challenge. You have the intellect, you have the grit, and now you hold your own master key. One that can open doors that you cannot even imagine just yet. Make us proud, make yourselves proud, and go build something unexpected. Congratulations, graduates. The future is yours.
Wonderful, wonderful message, Elaine. Thank you very much. Your 2025-26 Student Bar Association President, Henna Shah, has been a practical and persuasive advocate on your behalf and a valued partner to me over the past year. Henna, please join me at the podium to introduce our keynote speaker.
Distinguished faculty, proud families, mummy, papa, guests, and most importantly, the class of 2026. These past few years at Seton Hall Law have been transformative for each of us, and the conclusion of this journey begins a new one that is a vocation of service to others. It has been my absolute honor to serve as the SBA president, the Student Bar Association president, this past year, and I am proud that my final act shall be to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Camille Vasquez. Ms. Vasquez is a nationally recognized trial attorney who specializes in high-profile litigation in entertainment and defamation law. Just before we started our tenure here at Seton Hall, many of us watched Ms. Vasquez serve as co-lead counsel for Johnny Depp. As we were studying for our LSATs and wondering what lawyering looked like, we saw Ms. Vasquez on our screens as a confident and driven attorney who, despite public pressures, showed up as a strong advocate for her client. She exemplifies poise, upliftment, and tenacity, traits that we all strive to possess. Ms. Vasquez is also committed to mentoring and is proud to lead by example and inspire young attorneys like us. She is a sought-after legal analyst for conferences, panels, and podcasts, and she is often seen as a contributor for NBC News. In addition to her legal work, she serves as a foundation trustee for the Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Ms. Vasquez shared with me recently that she is most inspired by her own defamation clients who stand up for the truth and who embody our Seton Hall Hazard Zet Forward motto, at whatever risk, yet go forward. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Camille Vasquez.
Thank you. Henna, thank you for that lovely and kind introduction. Good morning, Dean White, members of the faculty administration, alumni, family, friends, and of course, the graduating class of Seton Hall Law. And thank you so much for inviting me to be part of such an important day in all of your lives. When I learned that the class chose me to give this commencement address, I was incredibly honored and also slightly panicked because unlike cross-examination, there are no objections here, no sidebars, no colleagues to save me if this completely falls apart. But honestly, standing here today means a great deal to me because I know what this moment represents. It's not just achievement, but it's sacrifice. We are gathered here just after Memorial Day, and I've been thinking about that word a lot over the last few days. This weekend, we honored men and women who sacrificed their lives in service to this country. And while today is absolutely a celebration, I also think commencement is a moment to recognize the quieter sacrifices that brought each of you into this room. The parents who worked extra shifts, the spouses, partners, grandparents, siblings, friends who carried you through stressful moments, difficult semesters, and probably more phone calls about finals than they ever wanted. The people who helped get you here, the people who encouraged you after a bad grade, rejection, or a moment where you quietly wondered whether you belonged here at all. None of us get here alone, and I know that personally. I'm the proud daughter of immigrant parents. My mother left Cuba at 20 years old, fleeing communism and leaving everything she had ever known behind. My father came to this country from Colombia on a student visa with almost nothing except ambition, discipline, and an incredible work ethic. And they built a life here through sacrifice. My sister became a doctor, and I became a lawyer. And honestly, as the daughter of immigrants, those were basically the only true approved options in our household. It was doctor, lawyer, pick one. Luckily, my parents ended up with one of each. But I grew up watching my parents work incredibly hard so that my sister and I could have the opportunities that they never had. And when you grow up watching sacrifice that closely, you understand something early. Nothing meaningful comes easy. And that lesson has stayed with me my entire life. And I also want to tell you something that I wish somebody had told me when I was sitting where you are now. Don't be afraid to ask. Some of the most important moments in my career happened because I was willing to risk being uncomfortable, awkward, or rejected. When I was younger, I became fascinated by trial lawyers. Strange habit. I remember watching one of the first televised trials when I was in 6th grade, The People versus O.J. Simpson. I was captivated by the lawyering. Watching the prosecution and defense engage in this live chess match completely pulled me in. At the time, I could have never imagined that nearly 30 years later, I'm definitely aging myself, parts of my own career and life would echo that trial in so many ways. One of those lawyers was Robert Shapiro. Years later, when I was in college, I was helping organize a student conference, and my mother suggested that I try inviting Robert Shapiro to speak. Now, I had absolutely no business calling Robert Shapiro. I didn't know him. I had no connections to him. I was just a student with a phone and probably an unreasonable amount of confidence. And I remember being nervous and even making the phone call because I kept thinking, why would someone like that say yes to someone like me. And my mother gave me some very simple advice. She said, just ask. The worst thing he can say is no. So I called. And to my complete shock, he said yes. That one phone call turned into a mentorship and eventually a friendship that has lasted for years. And I think about that moment often because it taught me something incredibly important. People cannot support you, mentor you, guide you, or champion you if you are too afraid to put yourself out there. You have to ask. You have to introduce yourselves. You have to risk hearing no. And along the way, you also learn something else. Mentors and champions are not always the same person. Some mentors will teach you how to become a better lawyer. Others will challenge you, push you, completely change the way you think. Champions, though, are different. Champions are the people who mention your name in rooms you're not yet in. The people who advocate for you when opportunities arise. The people who help open the doors. And over the course of your career, you will need both. You will need people who teach you how to become better lawyers. And you will need people who believe in your potential before you fully believe in it yourself. So seek those people out. And when your time comes, because that person, be that person for someone else. Now, I originally thought I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people. Then I realized medicine involved blood, needles, chemistry, advanced math, and frankly, a level of science aptitude I did not possess. Which in hindsight was probably better for everyone involved since I still cry when I have to get a shot and will absolutely faint at the sight of blood, much to my sister's disappointment in me. But eventually I realized what I actually wanted was not medicine. I wanted purpose. I wanted service. I wanted to help people through some of the hardest moments of their lives. And that's exactly what I found in the law. This profession, at its core, is a service profession. Yes, it's intellectually demanding. It's competitive. Some of you are going to bill more hours than you currently think is humanly possible. But at its best, this profession is about helping people who are overwhelmed, who are scared, embarrassed, angry, or completely out of options. Sometimes your client is a major corporation. Sometimes it's one person whose entire life is quietly falling apart. Either way, they are trusting you with something enormously important. Their business, their reputation, their family, sometimes their freedom or future. One of the things I love most about being a lawyer is that it forces you to really see people, your clients, your colleagues, judges, jurors, even opposing counsel, although that sometimes requires a little bit more effort than others. But truly, one of the things you learn over time is that civility matters in this profession. Your reputation will follow you, and so does the way you treat people. You can be a fierce advocate without being disrespectful. Some of the best lawyers I know are incredibly tough in the courtroom and perfectly civil outside of it. And the longer you practice, the more you realize this is a very small profession. The opposing counsel that you battle today may be your co-counsel, referral source, or even your client tomorrow. So protect your credibility, protect your professionalism, and do not confuse hostility with strength. And that humanity, I believe, matters now more than ever because we are living in a world that feels increasingly fast, distracted, performative, and reactive. A world where people speak before listening, where outrage travels faster than truth, where everyone wants to be heard, but very few people actually stop long enough to hear someone else. The law, I believe, forces us to slow down, to listen carefully, think critically, separate facts from noise, and advocate responsibly, even when the emotions are running high. And that is an enormous responsibility, but it's also an extraordinary privilege. And because this is a service profession, I also want to encourage you to give back throughout your careers. Do the pro bono work, not because it looks good on a resume, not because your firm tells you to. Do it simply because it reminds you why so many of us wanted to become lawyers in the first place. Some of the most meaningful moments in my career have not come from the biggest cases or the most public victories. They've come from helping someone, who otherwise would not have had access to legal representation. And early in your career, pro bono work will teach you faster, almost faster than anything else. You will get real courtroom experience if that's what you're looking for, learn how to speak to clients, think on your feet, and take responsibility much earlier than you otherwise may think. And you will realize something incredibly important. Achievement by itself is not enough. The title, the office, the compensation, none of it is enough on its own. You can have all the external markers of success and still feel deeply unhappy and disconnected. I have seen that. People want meaning. People want purpose and fulfillment. They want to feel useful. And this profession gives you the rare opportunity to genuinely change another person's life. Never lose sight of that. One of the things I have learned over the course of my career is that there is a reason we call it the practice of law. The practice. Not the perfection of law, not the mastery of law, but the practice. Because no matter how experienced you are always learning. Every client, every judge, every trial teaches you something if you're paying attention. And sometimes I believe the losses teach you more than your victories will. I lost my first trial. I still remember sitting in my car afterwards, replaying every mistake in my head, every objection, every argument, every moment I thought I could have handled differently. And I remember thinking very clearly, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I don't belong here. And the next morning I got up and I went back to work, which, as it turns out, is most of being a lawyer. This profession will humble you. There will be nights when you leave the office at 2 a.m. wondering how it's somehow already tomorrow. There will be vacations where the first thing you pack is your laptop. There will be setbacks, there will be sacrifices, and moments where you genuinely question yourself. And despite what social media currently suggests, there's no shortcuts around hard work. People see the visible moments. They see the trial, the headlines, the visible successes. What they do not see are the years beforehand, the years where no one knows your name, the years where you're doing document review on a weekend, the years where you're exhausted and trying to prove yourself. That part matters because success rarely arrives all at once. It's usually built quietly, repeatedly, and often invisibly. I deeply believe in what I call earned luck. Of course, luck matters. Timing matters, opportunity matters. But earned luck is different. Earned luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Earned luck is putting yourself in a position where, when the opportunity finally presents itself, you're actually ready for it. And I have found that the people who consistently rise in this profession are usually not the people looking for shortcuts. They're the people willing to outwork everyone else. There will always be someone smarter than you, someone wealthier, someone with better connections. You cannot control any of that. You can control your preparation, your work ethic, your integrity, and the kind of reputation that you build over time. And those things matter enormously over a career. Your reputation will walk into every room before you do. Protect it carefully, because credibility takes years to build and about 5 minutes to lose. And here's something else I want to say, because I think many of you probably need to hear it. Do not spend your life comparing your path to everyone else's, especially in this profession. We're lawyers, we're competitive by nature. But one of the ways I have always measured success is to say, if there's no one whose life you would trade for, then you're probably exactly where you're supposed to be. That doesn't mean your life is perfect. It does not mean the work is easy. It means the life you're building aligns with who you are, your values, your principles, your priorities, your own definitions of happiness. So build that life intentionally, because prestige without fulfillment is a very empty thing. And let me encourage you to do something else. Travel. See the world while you're young enough to do it spontaneously and imperfectly. Meet people who think differently than you. Read books outside of the law. Learn history. Experience different cultures. Eat really good food. Stay curious. A wise man once told me, be interesting and interested. I love that advice because I believe the best lawyers I know are not just intelligent, They're deeply interested in humanity. They're observers, listeners, storytellers. The law is ultimately about human behavior. The more you understand people, the better lawyer you will become. And I think one of the greatest dangers for young lawyers is becoming so consumed by work that they stop developing as a person. So don't let that happen to you. Your entire identity cannot be billable hours and email chains. Go experience life, go on adventures, make mistakes, sit in uncomfortable conversations with people who challenge your worldview. Learn how the world works outside of your own environment. That perspective will not only make you a better lawyer, but a better human being. And despite how rapidly this world is changing, I remain optimistic about this generation and our future. The legal profession needs thoughtful, disciplined, ethical people who are willing to work hard and defend fairness, defend truth and institutions, even when it's unpopular or difficult. Because this profession is not about ego, it is about responsibility. Responsibility to our clients, to the rule of law, and to each other. And now, graduates, that responsibility belongs to each of you. Today is not the end of your education, it is the beginning. So today, celebrate. Celebrate yourselves, celebrate your families, celebrate the sacrifices that brought you here. Celebrate the fact that you accomplished something extraordinarily difficult. Savor this moment because you've earned it. Take the photos, go to dinner, laugh with your classmates, thank the people who helped you get here, because years from now, this will still be one of the great days of your life. And then tomorrow, get back to work, pass the bar, take the job, travel, take risks, work hard, stay humble, help people, be interesting, be interested. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Thank you. Thank you, Camille Vasquez. Lots of good advice in there. I hope graduates were at least taking mental notes. Now, each year, the students of Seton Hall Law School select one of their own to address the graduating class. And I was very pleased when I learned that you selected Nicholas Gianquinto. Nikki, please join us at the podium to address your fellow graduates of the class of 2026.
Of course, I would drop my phone on the way up. How wonderful. Good afternoon, family, friends, faculty, administration, staff, and the resilient, distinguished class of 2026. Right before my first year of law school started, I remember sitting with my dad and telling him with absolute unearned certainty that I was going to be the graduation speaker. I wasn't asking for his opinion or his advice. It was as if I was telling him as a courtesy update. In reality, I had no clue what was in front of me. I saw the words law school in big, bold, intimidating letters, but I had no clue what law school actually was. But instead of the yeah, right, or the skeptical eye roll you would expect from a parent who's seen you fail at plenty of other things, he believed me. He didn't blink. His only response that day was, well, I can't wait to hear what you say about me in your speech. And I said, well, Dad, wait till you hear this one. I think about that conversation today because at the time, this moment felt like a scene from a movie that hadn't been cast yet. It didn't feel real, not just graduation, but the sheer volume of life that happened in between that living room conversation and this very moment. We all arrived here many years ago with a very specific, very polished version of how we thought this was going to go. We thought law school would be a structured, linear staircase. We thought that if we bought the right highlighters, briefed every case, and stayed disciplined, we could map out every turn. But as we quickly learned, the law does not care about your roadmap. Early on, most of us dealt with that quiet, nagging voice. We sat in those first year torts or contracts classes, listening to someone else nail a cold call and thinking, how did I even get admitted into this school? We tried to pretend that we were 100% focused, that we were law machines. We like to think of law school as a contained experience, a vacuum where if we just studied hard enough, the rest of the world would hit the pause button till we graduated. But life doesn't have a pause button. Life shows up exactly in the most inconvenient ways. It shows up in the middle of reading Panoyer versus Neff for the 6th time and still wondering what an quasi-in-rem jurisdiction is. Sorry, Professor Grant. It shows up when A is trying to give a life estate to B, and you're just wondering why A can't be a normal person and just sell the house. And it certainly shows up when you're staring at a blue book at 2 in the morning, questioning every life choice that brought you to a profession where a comma in the wrong spot can change your grade. Life showed up in the middle of everything that we thought we had neatly scheduled. And we all, in our own ways, had to learn how to carry more than just a heavy backpack. For some of us, it was personal health battles. For some, it was the weight of family responsibilities or financial stress. For others, it was the quiet, invisible problems we didn't talk about, but we carried into every final exam. I want to say that aloud today because none of that struggle shows up on your formal transcript. There's no line item on your CV for resilience in the face of a personal crisis. It won't be in your graduation photos, but that unseen work is exactly how we actually got here. For me, I am reflecting on one of those challenges at this very moment. As I look out at the crowd, my dad isn't in his seat today. I know I am not alone today in missing a loved one, a parent, a grandparent, a spouse, or a friend whom we expected to be here. And we are mourning the very version of that day we originally imagined. But even with that heavy weight of what we've lost or what we struggled through, we kept going. We didn't move in a perfect straight line. We stumbled, we took detours. We had days where showing up was the absolute maximum we could manage. But we moved in a way that brought us here. When we look back on these 3 or 4 years, it won't just be the big milestones we remember. It won't be the specific holding in a con law case. It'll be the in-between. It'll be the 5-minute venting sessions on the 5th floor library that turned into an hour. It'll be the collective silent prayer we all shared when the professor's eyes scanned the room for a cold call and we did not open the book. And it'll be the fierce, ridiculous arguments in study sessions over a hypothetical that would never actually happen. Because that's what this was. Not a destination, but a process of transformation. It was 1,000 small, difficult decisions to keep walking. And slowly, without us even noticing the shift, we became the version of ourselves that is sitting here today. We didn't get here because everything went according to plan. We got here because we were brave enough to keep going when the plan failed. We learned to trust the process, even when the process felt like it was breaking us. So, if I could go back to that conversation with my dad, what would I say? I would say what I hope every single person in a cap and gown would say to their support system. I would say, first, thank you for all the sacrifices you made for me. Shout out to my beautiful mother who's done everything for me. And second, I would say, I made it. It isn't exactly how we all pictured it. Each of our paths were messier, louder, and crazier than we could have ever known. But we made it, and that is the true definition of this moment. This isn't just the end of school. It's the proof that we can endure. It's the proof that we can get through things even when they don't go the way we imagined. The truth is, life is probably not going to be suddenly clear after graduation. There will still be uncertainty, there will still be setbacks, and there will still be moments where we feel like we're figuring things out as we go. But now we know we can. We know what it feels like to work through something difficult. We know how to adapt when things don't go according to plan. And we know how to keep moving forward even when the path in front of us changes. When you look around this room, it's actually pretty incredible to think about what that means. Every person sitting here has already done something hard. Seeing we are capable of getting to this moment in spite of everything life threw at us, I really believe there's no limit to what we're capable of. So to the class of 2026, to the friends who became family, to the faculty who challenged us, to the loved ones who carried us when we were too tired to walk, and to my dad. We made it! Woo! Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nikki. That was beautiful. And now is the moment that you've been waiting for. Will the LLM, JD, and MLS candidates please come forward on the stage as Dean Corneal or Dean Condon calls your name. Please remain seated until you are directed to come forward.
Okay. Will the JD candidates please come forward on stage as your names are called? Seton Hall has the distinction of being a member of the Order of the Coif. The Order of the Coif is an honorary society that encourages excellence in legal education by fostering a spirit of careful study, recognizing those who, as law students, attain the highest grade of scholarship. All graduates who are ranked in the top 10% of the entire graduating class will be inducted into the Order of the Coif, and this distinction will be acknowledged as your names are called. All right, let's get started. Dennis Abate. Connor Abamonte. Alessandro Acevedo. Martin Curtis Adams. Karina Thapar Agarwal, cum laude. Aruj Aga. Melissa Yesel Aguila Rua. Alejandra Aguilar. Olivia Altman. Mahin Aman. Andreas Antoniadis. Peter Arleo, cum laude, accompanied by the Honorable Madeline Cox Arleo, class of 1989. Shnaha Balaji Prabhu. Jacob David Barth. Holly Bebout. Jack Begley, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Olivia Jo Benedetto. Adam Benglis Kaufman, Health Law. Chase Bertoldo. Nicole Bashara. Emily Betancourt Leon, cum laude, Law and Technology General Track. Quinn Biggio. Kayla Marie Bowie. Elena Bresnan. Grace Conchetta Bruther. Emma Marie Birch. Phoenix Burke, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Catherine Donna Butler, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Hannah Rose Caldwell. Grace Catherine Callahan, cum laude, Law and Technology General Track. Maureen Jenna Camacho, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Joseph Camerado, accompanied by Pietro Camerado and Amy Halleck, class of 1998. Robert Campbell, summa cum laude, Order of the Coif, salutatorian. Nikki Carr, Privacy and Security Law Track. Okay. Brian Cavallero, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Michael Patrick Scotty Cisa. Olivia Nicole Chamberlain, cum laude. Joel Elias Chapman, cum laude. Zachary Alexander Chin. Jessica Peralta Clifton. Benjamin Cooper, cum laude. Sophia D'Agostino, cum laude. Nathan Carmine Daniels, cum laude. Jordan DeCrescente, cum laude. Riley Devlin, health law. Michael Gerard Geronimo. Galeen Deshoyan. Jolie Donier. Shannon Dove. Jessica M. Downing Brown, Privacy and Security Law Track. Thomas Duke, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Lee Ann Edwards. Matthew Eric Ertley. Andrea Lizette Espinoza. Alyssa Ann Ator, cum laude. Michael Itori. Stephen Fajan. Priscilla Phoebus. Jake Anthony Fernandez. Shannon Finkelstein, Law and Technology, General Track. Nicole Danielle Frankel. William Ryan Frasco, cum laude. Avery Friederwitzer, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Haley Gabrielle Friedman. Michael Fusil, cum laude. Michaela Ann Gall. Elise Marie Genrich, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Laura Jeffrey. Justin Giacobbe, cum laude, accompanied by Matthew Giacobbe, class of 1993. Nicholas Giaquinto, cum laude. Taylor Elaine Abraham Gillis, Technology Law and Business Track. Luke Daniel Glittner. Christian Thomas Gladish, cum laude. Brandon Gold. Brian Gonzalez, Privacy and Security Law Track. Michael Granda. Gianna Olivia Graziano. Tal Grossman. Richard Gruters, cum laude. Noah John Hagedorn. Christian Edward Henninger. Candace Hilliman. Joseph Michael Holland, Jr. Fern Eleanor Halt, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Robert Hughes, cum laude. David Mena Ebrahim. Joaquim Mikel Acasiano. Frank Anthony Iliano. Salvatore Imbornan III, accompanied by Salvatore Imbornan Jr., class of 1983. Stephen Ingersoll, summa cum laude, Order of the Coif, valedictorian. Victoria Alexandra Yevua, health law. Eric James Johnson. Kiana Joyner, privacy and security law track. Agnieszka Karkoshka, cum laude. John Edwin Keefe III, accompanied by John Keith Jr., class of 1990. Sheryar Khan. Alex Harrison Kingsley. John Andrew Kitt. Bridget Nodal, cum laude. Carla Erica Coe, cum laude. Kim Jessica Coleman. Joshua Max Kuttner, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Gabriela La Barbera. Julia Landy, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Randall Lazaro II, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Jake Lamanis. Janaya Luciano. JP Machado Silva. Matthew James Madonna, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Bua Mayer. Rahim Jallo Mahmood. Okay. Tanpreet Singh Malhotra. Vincent Patrick Mallet, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Vincent Paul Manning III, Intellectual Property Law track, accompanied by Vincent Manning II, class of 1986, and Michael Manning, class of 2022. Gabrielle Lynn Marchizan. Andrew Marino. Skylar Martinez. Michael John Martino. Daniel Nagy Masood. Carter Scott Massingo, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Hannah Lee McCrone. Melissa Ann McGloin, cum laude, accompanied by Jessica McGloin, class of 2025. Jeanette McGrath, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Mary Grace Kayla McNamara. Keegan Melancon. Justin Melchione. Mary Malik. Aaron Menzalewski. Elvin McGarroff, Health Law. Derek E. Miller. Patrick Malone. Danielle Mizrahi. Selma Mohammed, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Christopher Mongelli. Ashley Elizabeth Mooney. Kathleen Morandi. Jacqueline Morgan Taylor, cum laude. Grant Patrick Morian, accompanied by Jeffrey Morian, class of 1980. Mohaned Mustafa. Austin Munn. Aaron Montana Murphy. Liam Murphy. Maxwell Javier Narez. Chase Newman, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Sophia Nisavachia. Kirsten Neuber, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Jenna Lynn Nunziato, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law. Patrick Joseph O'Connor. O'Day Raed O'Day. Sean McAllister O'Neill. Tanya Panosian Lesser. Blaze Gaetano Panzini, cum laude, Gaming, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports Law, accompanied by Colleen Panzini, class of 1989, and James Panzini, class of 1990. Mia Park. Grace Elizabeth Paul, cum laude. William Phillips. Sophia Rose Pisano. Natalie Linnea Polito. Holly Ann Prince, cum laude, accompanied by Gary Prince, class of 1994. Emily Radish, Health Law. Rangashri Ramji. Matthew Raisky. Zanib Razak. Jai Ren. Graham Reeser, Health Law. Adil Rizwan. Bernard Robert, Health Law. Raquel Diana Rocco, summa cum laude, Order of the Coif, salutatorian. Julia Rose Rossenow, accompanied by Roger Desiderio, class of 1979.
Sorry, honey, they didn't call me, baby. Congratulations.
You just get time for a longer hug. Helena Elizabeth Rowe, cum laude. Rosa Simone Rowe, Privacy and Security Law track. Paige Ruffalo, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Catherine Marie Ryan, cum laude. Guido John Alfonso Salandra. Sarah Quinn Santos. Vinod Sardesai. Kevin Scanlon. Chloe Suzanne Schaefer, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Bradley Schlager, cum laude, intellectual property law track. Dana Seidel, health law. Hannah Shaw. Safa Sheikh. Rohan Sharma. Jessica Shinsky, cum laude. Tomer Sane. Ayoka Smith. Mark Solomon. Carla de la Caridad Simono Gonzalez. Kylie Ann Spinello. Caroline Ann Staff. Sage Marley Stevens. Michael Christopher Stile. Alexander Stolarts, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Laird Garrett Stratton. Shannon Stubbs, intellectual property law track. Dingbang Tan, health law. Christina Tao, health law. Marina Tawadros. Kayla Tehan, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif, accompanied by Michael Tehan, class of 1992. Hunter Douglas Thomas, cum laude. Olivia Tomasola. Paul Tapazio, accompanied by Andrew Kiernan and Joya Tapazio Kiernan, class of 2017. Somewhere? They couldn't make it, but they're here in spirit. Nick Trishani. Aaron Tworski. Domenico Ungaro, cum laude. Samantha Vasquez. Brandon Velez. Simcha Wagner. Nasim Warren. Emma Way. Nicholas Webb, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Monica Weglarts, cum laude. Matthew Whipple, accompanied by Mary Whipple, class of 1981, and John Whipple, class of 1982. Wendy Shaw, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif, Health Law. Edward Yanez. Kara Yanada, cum laude, accompanied by Christine Bergman Yanada, class of 1994. Steve Yu. Julia Jane Yu, magna cum laude, Order of the Coif. Faith Zamora. And last, but certainly not least, Rachel Zion.
Will the LLM candidates please come forward on the stage as your names are called? Elaine Andreeve. Laura Menges Aguiar Cerqueira. Sadia Alsher. Carlos Ernesto Besilla Penefel. Angie Bravo Dimian. Christina Sillo. Bruna Silva. Aji Kim. Tunde Lawal. Lydia Leahy. Helen Otamkopo. Anita Rita Piccoli Gomez. Marcela Pizarro Amigo. Vincent Rubino. Dayanith Ruiz. Will the MLS candidates please come forward on the stage as your names are called? Tiffany Angel. Haifa Arab. Kimberly Elizabeth Kale. Tori Carter, cum laude. Alfredo Castillo III. Iris Iman Cook. Charlton Darrington. Amaya Resmea Diaz. Courtney Emmanuel Bird. Sarah Farmer, magna cum laude. Criselda Farrell. Jennifer George. Juliana Golia. Kirsten Hassan. Daniel Seth Higgins. Natalia Hotchbaum, cum laude. Jada Michaela Jimenez. Bianca Johnson. Lisa Yetta Jones. Tamika Cornegay. Kayla Nicole Reba Leby. Dawn Marie Lemon, cum laude. Jency Lozano, magna cum laude. Marie Doris London, cum laude. Jill Rebecca Malandrino, cum laude. Julie Marcellus Barrett. Tatiana Martinez. Dijon Chanel Mitchell. Kevin O'Rourke. Lillian Pagan. Chloe Pepitone. Renee Pierre Louis. Victoria Pizzali. Jada Porter. Whitney Porter. Darla Price. Yasmin Teresa Ramirez, cum laude. Caitlin Smith. Amara Stuckert. Ariola Sila, cum laude. Crystal Tran. Jenna Nicole Trimboli. Natalia Trojacki, magna cum laude. Deborah S. Turner, cum laude. Nelson Vargas Costa, Jr. Diamond Vini. Jerry Lynn Whalen, cum laude. Stephanie Whitnell. And last, Thurchi S.N. Williams.
There it is. One more round of applause for the class of 2026. Thank you. And at this time, I ask Regent Emeritus Joseph LaSala to come forward. Regent LaSala, the candidates before you have completed all the requirements prescribed for the degrees of Masters of Laws, Master of Legal Studies, and Juris Doctor. I have the honor, therefore, of presenting them to you for the conferral of their degrees.
Thank you, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. My job is the shortest, but it's the most exciting for all of you, I'm sure. But I would be remiss before doing it if I didn't say that 54 years ago today, I sat in a stuffy gym up in South Orange in a complete and total panic over the looming bar exam, my clerkships, and what would become the practice of law. Coming fast forward 54 years, I thank God every day, I thank my parents every day, and I thank this institution, Seton Hall Law School, every day for 54 years. My wish is that all of you, each and every one of you, enjoy the same blessings from God. I always sneak in an ad lib. Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Laws and Master of Legal Studies please stand? On behalf of the Board of Regents of Seton Hall University, in accordance with the authority granted thereto, I hereby confer on these candidates the degrees of Master of Laws and Master of Legal Studies for which they have been recommended by the Dean and faculty of the law school. In my name and in the name of the Board of Regents, may I offer each and every one of you our sincere congratulations. Okay, here we go. Will the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please stand? Okay. On behalf of the Board of Regents of Seton Hall University, and in accordance with the authority granted thereto, I hereby confer on these candidates the degree of Juris Doctor, for which they have been recommended by the Dean and faculty of the law school. In my name and in the name of the Board of Regents, may I offer you our sincere congratulations.
Wow. This is a day of great joy. So I would now ask that all continue standing, and please welcome Christian Kenniger, member of the class of 2026, to the podium to deliver the benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty, ever-living, and ever-present God, God of justice and wonder, God of mercy and love, God who is love, we give thanks to you today, and we praise you. We are grateful for those on whose shoulders we stand, our parents, significant others, siblings, and all our family and friends. They have sustained us throughout law school. And we remember our loved ones who have departed from this life, who nevertheless remain inseparably a part of us. Lord, safeguard our great country marking its 250th anniversary, and Seton Hall Law School marking 75 years. Lord, bless the deans, the faculty, and the staff whose hard work helps make this school such a special and unique place. And Lord, we pray for the class of 2026. Thank you for the manifold talents of this class. And thank you also for the profound kindness, integrity, and strength of character represented here before you. Ours is a community that truly looks out for one another. Lord, in the story of the first crime ever committed, Cain's murder of his brother Abel, in response to your questioning, Cain asks, "Am I my brother's keeper?" In all that you have revealed to us, in all that we have learned, Lord, the answer to Cain's question is clearly yes. My prayer is for us always to recognize that every single one of us, no matter our life circumstances, is made in your image and likeness and possesses immeasurable dignity. We acknowledge that we do not exist in isolation from each other, but belong to a profoundly interconnected community. And that community needs us. We accept the mantle of a profession dedicated to upholding the rule of law in our communities and respecting the dignity of the individuals in them. We pray for you to guide us on this professional journey. At times, we may feel small and inadequate, and we will not get everything right, but we trust that through earnestly serving one another and you, we will promote justice, which is ultimately your will for creation. And so, Lord, our prayer is that we go forth today with servants' hearts and faith in your plan. Lead us to where you need us to be and help us to do what you are calling us to do. We pray that we will practice our profession skillfully, but let us always remember and apply the words of St. Thomas More to ourselves, that we are indeed the King's good servants, but we are yours first. Amen.
This brings us near to the conclusion of our commencement exercises. Immediately following the singing of the alma mater, I will return to the podium briefly to dismiss the Deus Party. Our Grand Marshals, Professors McDowell and Kay, will lead the recessional. The Deus Party will leave the stage, followed by the graduates. We ask that guests please remain in your seats until the graduation procession has passed. And now, the Seton Hall alma mater, performed by Natalie Polito, member of the class of 2026. The lyrics to the alma mater can be found in the back of your program, but I think you're all in for a treat as Natalie sings this song.
To alma mater, all be loyal, keep her name in purest light, never waver from her precepts, guard her banner blue and white. Oh, sing her praise to highest skies, and be ye faithful in her eyes, for she will foster all your dreams. Her name is Seton Hall. When on life's hard stones you stumble, pray to God to be your guide. Think of Seton Hall, your mother, then fortune and steady stride. Oh, sing her praise to highest skies, and be ye faithful in her eyes, for she will foster all your dreams. Her name is Seton Hall. Her name is Seton Hall.
Bravo, bravissimo. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2026. Thank you all for coming. We hope you will join us for a champagne reception back at the law school. Our Grand Marshals, Professor Kay McDowell, will now lead the Deus Party off the stage.